Hi, my name is Rachel and welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Today we are touring the January garden. Let's go! Starting down here in the usual place, we have the garlic and onions. Now the garlic was planted back in November, I believe. It's coming up looking real cute. And some of the onions, which is back here, they're looking okay, I would say. I have some more onion starts inside that I started a little bit later, and I'm gonna plug those in anywhere where some of the ones that were out here have died. I'm gonna turn you to see the other side of the garden. This is where most of my root vegetables were. You can still see there are some surviving turnips, there's some winter radishes, and there's a few little patches of carrots, but you can see for the most part, this part of the garden is done. There's some turnips that I didn't end up pulling. You can see the skin is peeled off where it froze. Turnips, they obviously can survive being frozen, but you can tell they don't like it very much. Same with some of my radishes. These are Icicle Radishes back here. I think I can show you a little more closely. Some of these up here. Let's just pull this one. So you can see Icicle Radishes still looking pretty good, but they're not super happy right now. It's been pretty cold at night, but very warm during the day, which is maybe a little confusing for them. We're talking like right above freezing at night and then getting into the mid-60s sometimes during the day. Now I had tried succession sowing some of my carrots to grow over the winter, and you can see back here, here's some of the ones that were planted a little later. They've been about the same size for a month and a half now, which is understandable because we just passed the winter solstice, and so everything has been growing really slow because there's not been a lot of sun. These carrots were planted a little earlier. I've pulled some of them, but they haven't been just all that big. And in another month they have to grow, and at that point everything in this bed is going to get pulled so that I can amend it and get it ready for spring planting. Here's another failed attempt at succession sowing. These were sown a month and a half ago, so 6 weeks. And they've just barely gotten their second set of true leaves. Again, they haven't died, but they haven't really grown either. These are radishes, and I don't think they're going to get big enough to harvest before it's time to clear out this bed. So if we just take a peek here at the smaller garden, this is also a carrot bed, and of course the ever-present sage. Recently I've been noticing something is eating my carrot leaves, probably a slug of some sort, but they're just not growing right now like everything else, and so normally I think they'd be able to keep up with this level of damage, but they are starting to look a little sad now. But again, this bed is getting to the point where I'll probably have to pull things before they're quite ready in order to get it ready for spring. So just yesterday I cleared off my trellis to get ready for fava beans. Yesterday I planted my fava beans. They won't have come up yet, but this is my first time trying fava beans. We'll see how it goes. They're supposedly really good in cold, and if I want to have enough time to grow them, I have to start them now in January. So we'll see what happens with those. Inside the greenhouse, I've got my salad bag greens. These have been doing really well for me. I've had several salads out of here now, and because I'm keeping them a little warmer, they are actually growing, as opposed to everything outside that is surviving the cold but not really thriving. There's not too much to see now in the back. The herbs that I've had are still surviving. You know, they look okay. Parsley is probably looking the saddest, but it will come back once things start to warm up. I'm also going to take you back to where my potted onions are. These are looking pretty all right. These are, again, some extra starts that I had that wouldn't fit in the bed in the back. And so I've got 3 or 4 starts in each of these, and we'll see if we get any onions from that. What you doing, Kata? I don't understand why you want to drink that nasty water. So last time I did a garden tour, I forgot to update you guys on the peppers that are overwintering indoors. So today I'm going to show you the good and the bad. So here is the good. This is my Tabasco plant, and it is obviously incredibly healthy. You can see its original stem there and its new branches that it's grown. However, right next to it, you can see my serrano, and it was doing great, and then it just suddenly died and got crispy. I can't explain that, I'll be honest. They were cared for exactly the same. They were both originally in pots, so neither one of them was dug up. And same for this one over here. That was a cayenne. It died before the serrano did. And again, I can't really explain what happened. This one looks so good, and these ones do not. And now Draco over here is eating my onion starts. These are the ones that I was talking about earlier. They're basically an experiment. I've started them a bit late for onion starts, and you know, if they get big enough, I'll put them out, we'll fill in the gaps, the ones that died over the winter, and maybe they'll make onions, maybe they won't, but since I've tried, there's a possibility. And so over here I have my ginger plant that I brought in for the winter. It's doing pretty alright. I've been using it, so it's going to look smaller than it did last time I showed it to you. It doesn't really appear to be growing. It just kind of looks like it's surviving. Like there's not really any new growth coming in at the tops, but it's surviving. And once I put it back out in the spring, it'll probably do a lot better, start growing again. Now, the most experimental thing I've been doing indoors is this pepper. This was in the main garden, and I dug it out and cut it back, brought it inside, and it has since kind of regrown. It's got some beautiful looking leaves and some not so great looking leaves. It had made flowers and was starting to ripen a pepper, and I'm now thinking that allowing it to do that in its like fragile, low sunlight state indoors is probably a bad idea. So I pulled that pepper off even though it wasn't ready, and that was like, what, 2 days ago now? So hopefully we'll start to see some improvement in these leaves. But so far it hasn't died, so that's at least a little bit of a success. Alright guys, that is the January garden tour. I'll probably be doing 2 more monthly garden tours. They'll be February and March, and then starting in April is when I start getting to put out some of my spring plants. Specifically tomatoes will go out sometime in April, so around that time I'll switch back to my summertime weekly garden tour schedule. So until next time, I wish you all happy gardening. Thanks for watching.